Hello, and welcome back to the fourth installment of this introductory tutorial for Daylight. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to sync audio in Daylight. Some of the shots I imported into this scene already have audio in the movie file.
Und nochmal die Kamera bitte.
It was recorded by the camera, and Daylight is simply reading it from the same source file as the image sequence. However, most of the sound for this production was recorded on a separate multi-track audio recorder. I have a copy of the files containing the audio recordings for this day's shoot already in a directory on my USB drive. I can check them in the sequence browser. Now, unlike the movie files, I can't play back audio files in the sequence browser, but I can check all the metadata. Now, just a little word of warning here. If you double click on an audio file in the sequence browser, thinking that may allow you to play it back, it will actually be added to whatever shot you currently have selected in the scene. Now, this could actually be a useful way to preview the audio, but if you do it by accident, you can always revert to the previous state by hitting undo or reselecting the correct audio source from this drop-down list, which in this case should be movie. Okay, so how do we sync up all this audio with the corresponding shots in our scene? Well, in Daylight, we have several options, but the simplest way is to make use of the timecode in the files to enable an automatic syncing process. For the audio syncing process, Daylight provides a preset workspace, which I can switch to by pressing Ctrl-Shift-4. In this workspace, you can see that we have the shots view at the bottom of the screen, and at the top we now have an audio waveform view. We can zoom in and out, horizontally and vertically, and also choose which channels we want to view as waveforms. We can scrub through the shot using the audio cursor, and if we enable this button, we can hear the audio while we scrub. This can be very useful if we need to manually adjust the sync offset between picture and sound. This particular audio was recorded into the same movie file as the image sequence, so I shouldn't need to worry about syncing it. But how about all the other shots which have separate sound? Well, first, I can select all those shots by creating a new filter. I'll set the filter criteria to Has Audio? No. So these are all the shots which don't have any audio, and I want to sync them all with files from the audio recorder. First, I'll select all of them by pressing Command A on the keyboard. Now I'll open the Audio Sync window from the Views menu. You can also do this by pressing Ctrl U. The audio files were recorded with the same time of day timecode as the image sequences, so I'm going to select Source Timecode as my sync reference. Daylight will search through all the audio files, trying to find audio with timecode which matches the image sequences I've selected in the Shots view. In the directory field, I need to select the directory containing the audio files. And I'll leave the Search In option set to search through all subdirectories. I need to select the correct audio timecode frame rate, which is 25 frames per second, and I can also specify an offset. For example, if the timecode generator on the audio recorder was set to a different time to the one on the camera, this setting would allow me to compensate for that. I'm also going to enable the reading of scene and take and date metadata from the audio recordings. Where these are present in the audio file, they will automatically be added to the metadata for each shot. I'll leave the other options alone for now and then click on Sync to start the process. Daylight is now scanning through all the audio files in the search directories, and as you can see, it's matched up audio with 52 of the shots. And there are 11 for which it hasn't managed to find matching audio. I'll click on the OK button and now close the audio sync window. Now this filtered list is just showing us the 11 shots which still don't have audio. Note that the first frame of each of these shots has been marked with an audio sync mark with the note "No matching audio files found." If I just quickly step through them, I can see that the first few look like they are just cutaways or establishing shots, and the last 4 are in fact a slow-mo sequence filmed at 75 frames per second, so I wouldn't expect sync audio for those shots. Okay, I don't need to worry about finding audio for these shots, so let's check the audio sync of all the other shots. Well, that looks like it's in sync, but I can tell more precisely if I check the clap point on the slate. Okay, that looks spot on. I can now go through and quickly check the other shots if necessary. Notice that the scene and take information has also been added to all these shots. Daylight also provides options for syncing individual shots and for searching by date as well as timecode, so you can automatically sync shots which were recorded over several days. There's even an option to use Daylight's built-in clap detector, which will help you sync audio which was recorded without timecode or where the timecode has no relation to the images. But yes, you've guessed it, I'll be covering all that in another tutorial. Okay, so we've now covered the basic steps of importing media, applying basic grades and looks, and syncing audio. The final part in the process is to output files which can be used by editorial and at various other points in the production pipeline.